What's up, YouTubers? Wasn't that opening montage beautiful? That was some highlights from the White Rim Road that I drove with some buddies. And thanks to all the dudes that were a part of that. It was just a blast. And this was the knife that I brought. Not because we were going to be doing camping in the traditional sense with, campfires and things like that. But it was kind of overlanding where you're not allowed to have any campfires. Therefore, for me, this is a perfect knife to bring because it's sturdy enough, light. I want to basically be carrying light at that. We're doing some hikes, or at least one hike on there, and a few other overlooks. So, you know what? This is really a discussion about, is the Benchmade Bugout the best hiking and camping pocket knife? This particular model, again, is the one that I brought. It weighs like 2.5 ounces, I want to say. 2.3 ounces maybe. All the Bugouts have a 3.24-ish inch blade. This particular one has aluminum scales here with that nice sunburst pattern. So it looks really nice. And like I said, light, capable, thin, slicey. I'm going to make the case here for why the Benchmade Bugout probably is the best, or one of the couple best, hiking or camping pocket knives specifically. So not accounting for a multi-tool like a Leatherman. A Leatherman here, this is my Leatherman charge that I've had forever. This is a knife that can do many, many different functions. I'm not going to go over them. This is not a review of that. But this would clearly be a knife that would be, a multi-tool. So it's beyond just a pocket knife here. This is definitely a full tool because when I'm full driving, I have a full suite of tools. I don't necessarily need all the tools that are in here, and therefore I'm not going to be carrying this on my side. It's a little bit heavy and bulky. So I'm discounting that. It would be great if it's kind of the one tool only that you had camping or hiking, but I'm going to eject something like that. And the truth is, I always carry a knife like this in my truck anyway. This is a fixed blade, the Falkneven F1, and, something like this is always going to be in my car or nearby, so this is not going to be one that I'm going to necessarily be carrying when I'm on a multi-day trip on my side. Again, if we were able to do campfires and that sort of thing, absolutely I'd be carrying something like this, Bark River, something like that. But again, this would be a knife that for a proper camping where you get to use campfires, one would involve, but there's no campfires allowed in the Canyonlands National Park. So I just needed something that I could cut food with, cut miscellaneous things, zip ties, stuff like that. Little stuff. Just really didn't have a whole lot of need for it. Ended up only using this 2 or 3 times, mostly for when I was cooking, opening packages and things like that. Not packages that get in the mail, but packages that are, encompassing food, stuff like that. So this was the Bugout that I brought, and I'm going to go ahead and now make the case. So the Benchmade Bugout comes with so many different selection options. This particular one, again, this has M390 steel with aluminum handles. There's the standard Grivery one with S30V, and this is the super ultralight one. You can see kind of some flex in there, but that's a very, if you need to carry ultralight, that's going to be the one you're going to want at 1.8 ounces. You can go with a little bit thicker and stiffer G10. This particular one is 20 CV. You can get S90V steel with carbon fiber. This one ended up being 2.0 ounces, so it's I think the second lightest in the bunch, 2.2 for the G10 ones. And then you can go full titanium. Again, that's the 20 CV model. And then I have the heaviest of the heavy, which is not lightened up. This is the Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and I got that one with the serrations, S30V steel, and that one is 4.1 ounces. So kind of just on the weight scale, not necessarily in order, but you're talking about 1.8 ounces all the way up to 4.1 ounces. I think that combined with the various steels that you have, 20 CV, Smoky Mountain Knife Works also has an M4 steel. It's Desert Warrior. So you can get a massive selection of steel types. You can get the serrations. You can get Cerakoted ones. The Cerakoting, bitch all you want at Benchmade, but their Cerakoting is fantastic and does a great job. Especially if you're going through tape. Tape just doesn't stick to their Cerakoting, so that's a really good thing. Factory production scale options are pretty good here. The only ones that I have here that have aftermarket scales are this one has G10, and then this one is the titanium. Actually, I guess these are both the titanium. This one comes from Smoky Mountain. This is titanium, my own. But again, you go to the customization store, and you can get pretty much just about any of these combinations that you want. It's going to cost you a little bit more, in fact, a lot a bit more, but you can customize it exactly as you want it. Why does this guy have 6 bug outs? That's going to be a later tale that will come in time. Specifically, this is what I consider one of the classic and best knives, even though it only came out in 2017 of all time, and for the most part, I'm giving all what I consider the best knives of all time to my kids. So 4 of these have 4 kids. 4 of these, they don't know them as of yet, exactly which ones they're getting, but they're going to be getting 4 of these, and then 2 will be for me. I might end up giving 1 away at some point in time. Possibly this one. I just don't use it as much. The serration, I use other knives if I need serration. I think Spyderco serration does a little bit better. So we talked a little bit about the selection of steels, the selection of hand materials, and the lightweight factor that goes with that. Those are all great things if you're basically doing camping or hiking, especially for like a one-day hike. That would be a very, very key thing. You know, I would probably go with the uber light ones here, the carbon fiber and the Grivery one. So these are just so ridiculously light. And the great thing about these is they carry super light. They don't take up a lot of space in your pocket. You can see how thin they are. So the bug out really is maybe one of the easiest carries that's out there. It has a very good clip. It retains well. It carries deep. I'll go ahead and move that one out of the way. If you take a look at this one, that's all that's going to be showing out of the top of your pocket. So depending on where, you never know where you might end up when you're camping in other states, what's allowed. Do know the local laws of those places, but most places, 3.24-inch blade. I know some cities have a 3-inch limit, but this one is going to be legal in a lot of the United States. We talked already about the thin and slicey cutting ability that it has, and with this super thin edge, even when or thin blade stock, and behind the edge it's very thin, even when it loses its uber sharpness here, it's still going to cut really well. It just simply does. And most of these steels, from S30V as your starting point and going upward, are going to cut really, really well. So it's a great knife that's going to cut a long time. Are you going to need to be splitting wood with this one? No, this is not for that purpose. This is for, again, you just need something on a little hike. Maybe, again, just in your pocket when you're camping, when you just need to cut something or a little piece of food, something like that, cut an apple. This one's going to do it. And then the last thing is really this knife uses bronze washers inside there and not bearings. So your bronze washer is going to be much better for fighting off gunk and fish guts and food if you're going to use this for cleaning fish. That's why I think there's still a great case for this one probably being one of the best hiking knives. Now let's talk a little bit about price. Benchmade Bugout is not going to be the best price option I think that's out there. I don't even know honestly what it goes for now. I think the cheapest Grivery one is maybe still probably $136. It might be $150, somewhere in that range. But for my money, I think the Hogue Deca is a better option. These are 2 different examples of it. That one is the Warncliffe, and this is the drop point, or clip point blade rather, with G10, and that one has replaced Kyanite scales. There are now getting to be a lot more aftermarket capabilities in terms of replacing scales and customizing that sort of thing, which you did have for the Benchmade, the Bugout for a long time, but you didn't have that for the Hogue. But now with like Original Goat, Alan Putman, I know he have those. You do have a lot more options. Plus, you have these 2 different blade shapes, that Warncliffe, the compound Warncliffe, and then this clip point. But they're going to behave very similarly, very light, sturdy. It uses the able lock in this case. It's essentially a bar lock, though, just like the Bugout. So, and one last thing I kind of forgot to mention is, one good thing about the Bugout, as well as the Deca in this case, is that if you're in camp and somebody just needs to use one, you can just hand this knife to them, and it's very intuitive. Even if they just use it 2 hands, it's extremely intuitive. And then they might have to ask, and you just basically say, oh yeah, you just release those, You know, that bar there. This is very much an intuitive knife that you can almost hand to anybody, and they can figure it out. Certainly how to open it, and they might just hand it back to you in the open position. So, but going back to the price is the only thing where I think Benchmade is a little bit off their rocker. But if you look out for sales, this particular knife normally sells for $233. Would I pay that? No. A friend of mine, Jovian, basically hits me up when there's crazy sales, and they have them when there's either overstock or they just want to reduce stock. This knife I got for like $155. Same thing for the S90V carbon fiber one. That one I got for $159 or something on sale. And that one normally sells for like $280, which is, I just think, too much really for what you're getting. It's very well made, just like any other bug out. But so again, I think on the price front, the base prices, the standard MSRPs, I think they're a little bit high. And I would actually, for most people, I do recommend the Hogue Deca. But what I do say is, I say watch out for the sales on the bug outs, and sometimes they're killer sales, to where, like I said, if you can get this carbon fiber one for $150 versus you know, Deca will have their G10 in S30V or 20CV rather, sometimes, you know, they're going to be similarly priced, where this one for the fire sale might be $10 cheaper, but you're going to get S90V and carbon fiber. So you can't always guarantee those sorts of things, but you can look out for those. So on the whole, really, what would I say is, I hope you did enjoy the opening montage there of the White Rim Road. I had a blast doing it, and if you're considering a knife that's great for camping, or, you know, just a day hike, something like that, you just want to carry around, obviously it's an everyday carry classic. I think the Benchmade Bugout probably still has, you know, when you get those sale prices especially, probably has the most compelling case out there. So I hope this was of use. If it was, I appreciate the like and subscribe. Have a great day. Take care.